Everyone likes to talk about crypto volatility like it's a normal thing. But what if it's actually dangerous? Well, it's not about ifs. Crypto volatility is a dangerous thing that is affecting other global markets. After the big crypto surge in 2020, crypto has become such a big market that when crypto goes down, other bonds or indexes also see the effects, which is a dangerous thing because with crypto being so volatile, those dangerous price swings can affect the economy in negative ways. Now it's time to walk you through different statistics that show how crypto volatility is a dangerous thing and how it affects different markets and different sectors of the economy. Okay, so for my first point, I want to show the difference in correlation between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin pre-2020. So what happened in 2020? In 2020, after quarantine, there was a massive crypto surge in the market becoming a large thing in the economy, which is worth around $3 trillion to this day. But before then, there was really no correlation between spikes and recessions within crypto and other indexes. So as you can see in this graph, or as you can see that I'm putting it up right here, you can see the correlation rates between Bitcoin and Ethereum within the S&P 500. And I also have a graph right here showing that before 2020, there really didn't have much correlation. Whereas after, which is this graph right here, you can see when crypto starts spiking or starts being in a recession, then humans, as we're pessimistic creatures, then the other indexes also lose money because people are refusing to buy or to sell. So in general, value tanks overall, and that's really a dangerous thing because crypto being such a volatile market, being a market that there's constant price swinging, it makes it very dangerous for that to be prominent within other places. So for my next point, I want to talk about how risk is spread across different sectors of the economy. So what is financial contagion? Well, financial contagion is basically just a simple way of saying of how risk can spread into different sectors of the economy. So firstly, let's say if crypto fails, then financial contagion, meaning that failure, that spread would go into something like stocks or bonds, or etc. So research shows that different shocks in the cryptocurrency market can actually go and affect and stress different financial sectors across the economy. So not just if stocks drop, investors don't just lose money there, they lose money in different places as well. So the real question isn't about how much risk there is, it's how far the risk actually spreads. So in this graph is an example of financial contagion with the collapse of an entity called FTX. So as you can see in this graph, after FTX collapse, you can see all the risk spread across the different other entities that they're connected to, which caused a massive recession. So how do you actually measure that risk and learn how to mitigate risk when investing in crypto? Well, there's a formula called the value at risk formula. Basically what this method does, or VAR, basically what this method does, it measures your risk level based on returns and volatility, and overall help you give you a percentage. So what does VAR actually do? Well, VAR basically uses return rates and volatility swings to calculate or see risk levels and confidence levels based on regular market conditions. So this helps investors make confident decisions while investing in different type of digital assets. But here's the problem with crypto. Since volatility is so extreme, those extra prices and that extra risk is so hard to calculate every single day just because of the excessive price swings. And not to mention when investors or different associations hold different type of assets in their portfolio as along crypto, it doesn't just affect the digital assets alone. It can affect entire portfolios, bringing profits down extremely and causing a lot of people to lose money. That's why it's so important to understand VAR and how financial contagion really works and how it really shows and gathers all that risk and how it shows how far it spreads throughout the economy. And that's why I think crypto volatility has gotten way too excessive after 2020, and as it's begun to even grow as further than it ever has been to even $3.5 trillion and so on and so forth, as it becomes a bigger market, I think volatility is only getting worse. And overall, I think it's something that we should maybe have the government start putting regulations into, because as there's a lot of regulatory risk, because with crypto there's no regulations, nothing like physical policy, monetary policy that can be inflicted to change price swings, nothing along those lines. So I think overall it's just very important for people to understand the risk crypto has, and to at least learn how to mitigate it somewhat in the portfolios at least, and keep their digital assets away from their other assets, and overall keep their assets safe, make good investments, and be knowledgeable about what you do. Don't just buy crypto without knowing, because it's a very hype driven coin. hype-driven market. So overall, that's why I presented here, and that's why, I hope moving forward, people will begin to learn more about crypto without making more mistakes and investing, and we'll learn and we'll make more money.